Okay, this is some more of sum review number 2. This is number 19. Okay. And again, we've got our function, and this is our difference quotient. So this is going to be f of x is 1 over x. So every time I see the function, it's 1 over whatever's in here. So it's going to be 1 over x plus h if this is f of x plus h. So this is my difference quotient, f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And again, it's going to be 1 over that. So I just substitute that into the difference quotient. So this is 1 over x, so 1 over x plus h minus 1 over x all over h. And then we just have to simplify it. Now we have a complex fraction. We just did these in the sum review number 1. We did a lot of these. And when we have a complex fraction, the easiest way to simplify that is multiply the top and the bottom by the LCD. That's the least common denominator of all the denominators. That's something that's going to simplify all the denominators. So that just happens to be the product of this x and this x plus h. So that's my LCD. When I multiply the top by this, here the x plus h cancels, so I have an x. Here the x's cancel, I got an x plus h. And there's a negative there, so don't forget that negative. All over just this product in the bottom. And then we'll simplify this. It's going to be x minus h all over the hx times x plus h. And the x's cancel, so I've got negative h. And again now, look, I've got factors in the top and the bottom, so I can cancel these h's. That's what we want. We don't want a factor of h in the denominator. We could have a term of h, but not a factor. So those cancel. So we end up with just negative 1 all over x times x plus h. And that's going to be fine for our definition of derivatives when we talk about that. Okay. On number 21, f of x is 1 over 2x, so it's almost like 19. Just with a 2 in front. So again, this is our difference quotient. So again, it's going to be, instead of 1 over x plus h, it's going to be 1 over 2 times x plus h. Minus 1 over 2x all over h. And then again, my LCD is a little more complicated. It's just 2 times x plus h. So I multiply the top and the bottom by that LCD. Here the 2's and the x plus h's cancel. I still just have x. And here the 2's and the x's cancel, and I've got x plus h. But with this negative sign, so don't forget that. All over 2h x plus h. Then I can simplify the top. X minus h all over this big old denominator. But the x's cancel, so I got negative h. And notice I've got factors of h in the top and the bottom, so I can cancel those. I can put the negative in front, and that's what you end up with. Negative 1 times, negative 1 or negative o times 1 over 2x x plus h. Okay, so not too bad. Just have to kind of follow the steps and be careful on your substitution. This has been known to give students a little trouble, so be careful on these. Okay, number 21. Radical, so now we got the square root of x. And again, we'll look at our difference quotient. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. Write this down each time so you can remember it, because this is real important. This is the biggest part of the definition of a derivative, which is the whole branch of calculus. That's the first branch we study, differential calculus. So every time I see this in here, it's going to be the square root of whatever's in here. So it's going to be the square root of x plus h minus the square root of x over h. And this is another technique we learned in sum review number 1, where if we have a fraction like this, we want to simplify it. Sometimes we want to rationalize the numerator, not the denominator. So that's what we're going to do. The numerator's got the radicals in there that we want to simplify, so we'll rationalize the numerator. So we multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by the conjugate of the numerator, which is x plus h plus the square root of x plus h plus the square root of x. Now we multiply this. This is like a minus b times a plus b, which is a squared minus b squared. So it's going to be this squared minus that squared. So it's just going to be the square root of x plus h squared, which is just x plus h, minus the square root of x squared, which is just x. So see how nicely that simplifies. They can say, well, what about the bottom? Well, in this case, we're not too worried about the bottom as long as we don't have factors of h. Well, we do have factors of h at this time, but we'll fix that. So we have h times this binomial. But what happens with the x's? They cancel, so I just have this. Now notice again, I've got a common factor in the top and the bottom of h. This is going to be, important to us to not have factors of h. So when I cancel that, I've got 1 over x plus h. I'm sorry, the square root of x plus h plus the square root of x. Now see, remember I told you we could have terms involving h, but we don't want to have factors, so that takes care of that. And you'll be doing work just like this in your book. Okay? As a matter of fact, identical to this. So this kind of gets you ready for the calculus we're going to have to do. Okay? And then the last one, number 21. Just a little bit more complicated on this. This is f of x is the square root of x minus 1. So whatever goes here, that's going to go there, but we'll still have the negative 1, square root also. So there's my difference quotient. So every time I see an x, I put an x plus h. So f of x plus h is the square root of x plus h minus 1. Okay, and then minus the square root of x minus 1. And there's not much I can simplify this, so I have to just rationalize the numerator. So I multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the numerator, which is the identical to the numerator except the opposite sign in between. So that's the conjugate. I multiply the top and the bottom. And remember, this is like a minus b times a plus b, so it's a squared minus b squared, so it's going to be this squared minus that squared. Well, the square root of x plus h minus 1 squared is just x plus h minus 1. And the square root of x minus 1 squared is just x minus 1, but we got a negative sign and a binomial, so don't forget to put that minus in parentheses so you don't forget to apply this negative sign to both terms. And then I got this big old denominator, h times this binomial. And then when I remove the parentheses, I get x plus h minus 1 minus x plus 1. The x's cancel, the 1's cancel. So I just have h on the top and the bottom, or on the top there, just an h. And I have a factor of h in the denominator, so those cancel. So I just have 1. And again, notice when we look at this, we don't have any factors of h in the bottom. We don't have any factors, or h as a factor in the denominator. We have it as a term. And that's okay. You'll discover later when we talk about the differential calculus part that doesn't matter. That'll work. So that's how you simplify those. Those are very important problems, so make sure you are very comfortable with how we go over those. Hope that helps.